What's up, Rockstars? Welcome to another news update. We have a ton of stuff from Kickstarter banning campaigns because they don't agree with it, misinformation. We got some brand new announcements, some big games coming up, some huge ones going on right now. There is a ton, guys. So let's discuss.
Thank you to my channel sponsor Into the AM. As a company that believes hard work and a great product is a proper way to conduct business, I am delighted to have them as part of the channel. They have some of the coolest graphic t-shirts around and an absolute best fit and feel that has continually exceeded my expectations. With new shirts arriving all the time and other products like boxers, hats, and even a monthly shirt club, I wholeheartedly recommend them to you. Check out the link in my description of this video for an exclusive 10% off everything they sell.
Right off the bat, Marvel United Multiverse. This is CMON's kind of next big one. And honestly, 719,000, doing quite well. So 20 days to go, 8,574 backers. I assume they're going to be adding some add-ons over time. Normally, if they have something like a 20-day long campaign, if it's a big long campaign like that, there's a big lull in the middle. And the only way to kind of increase the funding over time, which they are doing fund-driven unlocks, which you'll see down here. We'll go see some of the current ones now. Long scroll, you know how it is right here. See, so it's based off the money being raised. The only way to keep that going after the initial surge and the end surge is to put in add-ons so that the people that are there are increasing how much they're funding. It's the only way to do it, and it's why a lot of times companies will do shorter campaigns now. But when I see something like 20 days, I'm assuming there's going to be 3, 4, maybe even 5 expansion boxes. So just be prepared for that. That being said, they got some cool stuff. I think this is a fun one. This is a multiverse, and really the thing here is the less you've heard of them, probably the cooler they are. I think, anyway. So you'll find stuff like Thunderball. And if you don't know who Thunderball is, that's because you're a normal person. And if you do know who Thunderball is, congratulations, you big nerd. No, seriously though, I think it's awesome. I recognize some of these, but I'm definitely not the most well-versed Marvel comic reader around by far. They also have a big Galactus, not as big or ridiculous as the like Marvel Zombies Zombicide one, but big for this one and still quite cool. I'm actually not big on Galactus. I don't know. I don't like his helmet. So a lot of these, like Mighty Thor, you've probably seen before, and a few others, but like Loki, right? But or even Captain Carter, stuff like that. But a lot of them, like have you ever seen Cosmic Ghost Rider? Or have you seen Emperor Doom, right? There's a lot of really fun ones here as well. And just the heralds here are really cool. They have a lot of just really, really neat. Black Knight, Claw, Chameleon, Songbird. That one looks really cool. A lot of cool stuff. I'm excited for it. I think that's neat. I don't actually play this game. It's not really the kind of game I think I would get a lot of playtime with, but I know a lot of people love it, and I think that's super cool. So more power to you there. Just go into it knowing that the price you see now is not going to be the final price. They'll slowly reveal the final price to you, kind of ease you into that big number so you don't go and be like, oh my gosh, they want $400. Are you kidding? No, instead they're going to get you up to $400. That'd be my guess. I don't know how much it'll be. Right now, I think the biggest tier is $100. Next up, we have Epic Spell Wars of the Battle Wizards. Annihilageddon. I can never even say that. Look, guys, make your board games or card games, all your games, make them to where normal English speakers, if it's in English, I'm assuming that's English, can actually freaking say it. My goodness. This is not a game I'll be picking. And I think the whole Satan's top pick thing is just silly and fun, and they're just trying to be all goofy. I dig that. I understand the theme. For me, it's the art style. I can't do the art style. The kind of the gross detail stuff reminds me of like Garbage Pail Kids. If you guys remember that, I was never a fan of that either. If it was like this, I'm actually more okay with this style than this style. Hopefully that makes sense. A little bit more cartoony, I'm okay with, but otherwise it's too much. I don't know. It's gross, if that makes sense. But a lot of people do really enjoy this. My understanding is it's a great card game. And this is just a fun, crazy, silly, over-the-top theme for it. Either way, 28 days ago. This one's going to be for forever. Already 170,000. I'm sure that'll just keep going up as well. Next up, guys, you can get a game table for $48. Let me explain. You can 3D print a game table for $48 plus the cost of actually printing it, the plastic and whatnot. This is actually a really cool idea. And if you have a 3D printer, I highly recommend you take a good, nice long look at this. Gaming tables are expensive, very expensive. But if you can do with something like this, there's a lot of benefits to it too. Not just the fact that you can fully customize it, but you can store it away afterwards. So after you print it and build it up and it looks like it locks really smart and be super secure that way, you can then actually just store it and put it back up. And I think that's super cool. But the customization, guys, a lot of times you may look at the cost of a game table and think, oh yeah, it's like $2,300. But by the time you add all of the customizing, the dice tokens and the dice towers and the wells and the cup holders and the charging ports and all that other kind of stuff, it adds up to a lot. And look at all of this stuff that they already have for it. A ton of stuff you can do. And I think that's actually really, really cool. I think that's awesome that they're doing that. There's just so much you can kind of do with this. I think it's a great idea and something I highly recommend people look at. Plus, their base picture had cookies. Literally, I noticed the cookies before the board game. I don't know what this says about me, but I don't need your judgment. Moving on from that, we have Where Legends Fight Volume 4. This one I actually just backed. Guys, it's $12 for the all-in. I added an add-on for $2. Let me explain. So this is essentially a whole bunch of scatter terrain. They have a cathedral set. They have an alchemy set, a treasure, steampunk, tundra. If you have a Space Wolves, this tundra is highly recommended. I think that looks great. But this can be used for a lot of different grimdark stuff, the cathedral stuff, RPGs, all sorts of stuff like that you can do, even if you're just doing dioramas and whatnot. Look at that angel statue. It's freaking sweet. I love the wings. That's super cool. There's the alchemy. They have that too. The steampunk one comes with these cool pipes that I'm tempted with. Here's the tundra set. You could make a really cool, I love the ice floor and stuff like that. A frozen lake would be awesome to do. I think that's great. That's super cool. All the different trees and stuff. And you can even do a little bit Christmassy stuff if you want. So that's super neat. There's the steampunk thing. All of this is $12, by the way. It's this one thing, $12. And you get all of this. So if you're into RPGs, if you're into any of that, highly, highly recommended. That's crazy. Some of their add-ons, all these add-ons are like $2 each. So you can get this for $2. You can get this for $2. You can get this for $2. I went and grabbed this one for $2. Not because I actually have any interest in any of these, but I like the rock formations that they have and the boulders. And that for $2 still seems like a great deal. So I'm spending $14 and getting almost everything I just showed you. That's crazy. And guys, if you can't print any of this, if you aren't a 3D printer, stuff like GameWare Create, that's a sponsor of the channel. It's linked down below all the time. They'll print it for you. You don't even have to have a printer. You just give them the files. They'll print it for you as a service, send it to you real nice, and then you have printed stuff. It's as easy as that. The Faceless King, another 3D printable one. We're almost done with these, but this one has a freaking wolf, so I had to share it. Now, the one thing that could improve this is to take off the little headpiece. But other than that, that is a freaking sweet wolf. I love just the whole setup they have there. The nursemaid looks cool. The hunter looks cool. Just a very cool looking set of minis here. Plus some support. You saw that with the actual stat sheet there and stuff like that. All right, next up, support the Dice Tower 2023. I shared this last time with you. They're now up to $270,000. Congratulations to them. It's not all profit. You are kind of buying things more or less, and they're making a profit off that. But it's still a great way to give. So if you like what the Dice Tower has done for this community, or just are a fan of their product, this is definitely something I recommend. Of course, all these are linked down below. And if you appreciate the videos I make, I am also having a fundraiser. It ends on January 31st. I am giving away commemorative coins. You can see there's this one right here. Very, very cool. Very fun. They're a little bit of an update on that. And I'm working on something else for you guys. But seriously, there's a ton of awesome games up for grabs as well that you can get. So feel free to check out the list here. It's a big list, guys. There's a lot of games I'm giving away. I like to give away stuff. I like to actually give back to you guys as much as I possibly can, whether it's through video or even maybe a game. Super cool. Let's get to some upcoming things. This is Cysmic, a race for survival during Seismic Armageddon, they compared this to an old school style RTS with, I think they say something like modern style tabletop gaming. Take a closer look though. Look at that. My goodness, there's some stuff going on there. It looks like you have like these different buildings where I think you're trying to like make like a missile silo. You have these little tiles and you can gain resources. I'll show that in a little bit. You have these big mechs. You have these other guys. I don't know what this symbol is, but you can equip your guys with it by the looks of it. I also don't know what this is either. It looks like some kind of like monument perhaps or something like that. It doesn't quite look like a unit if you ask me. But yeah, here you can see some of the resource stuff. So super cool to see. I think that looks awesome. Definitely something that looks pretty unique. Big game though, that's for sure. This is a very, very involved game by the looks of it. But I like the idea of an RTS board game, and that certainly looks cool. So feel free to check that out. Batman Escape from Arkham Asylum, January 24th. So that's coming out very soon, guys. Of course, I'll cover it. They did a great update here. They're going over essentially all the playable characters, the villains that you can play, at least from the start. Harley Quinn, Bane, and then you have the Joker, you have the Penguin, you have the Scarecrow, Two-Face, and Poison Ivy. But it goes into a little bit about their different play styles and how their boards work to kind of do different things. So, like, for instance, Bane can mitigate a lot of damage, or the Joker gets a lot of event cards. The Penguin can bribe people, stuff like that. So very, very cool to see how they all play different. And I'm glad that they're actually talking about all this gameplay stuff. I really am. Whether you like the game or not, I appreciate the fact that they're actually sharing that and not just selling it off of minis. I think that's important. Now, this is interesting. This is Unstable Diffusion, unrestricted AI art powered by the crowd. It was suspended by Kickstarter, who then went and made this, Our Current Thinking on the Use of AI-Generated Image Software and AI Art, where they talk about essentially this. Kickstarter must and will always be on the side of creative work and the humans behind that work. We're here to help creative work thrive. Now, I understand there's a lot of fear-mongering around AI with art. But I think, and when I say fear-mongering, I don't mean like even intentional. I think it's just like anything. A new technology isn't always understood, and the initial reaction can sometimes be negative, especially out of ignorance. And I don't mean ignorance as some sort. A lot of people use ignorance, or they think it's like a mean word. Ignorance just means you don't know. It doesn't. You weren't taught. You don't know the difference. It's not you should know the difference. That's different, right? But ignorance just means you don't know, right? Which we don't. Everybody's ignorant of many, many things. I'm ignorant of many, many things. We all are. None of us know everything, and that's fine. And a lot of us, we make opinions based off of not understanding things too, like new technology. So I guess what my problem here is, I think Kickstarter is not they're working in like blockchain stuff right now, Web3 stuff. So I know they know better, but they're not willing to, they're going to side with the internet mob here, as it were, the people that are upset, instead of actually like educating or anything like that. And honestly, I don't know how much you can educate. I mean, at some point, I don't know what the overlay between artists that upload work to ArtStation and people who understand the inner workings of AI heuristics. I'm not sure what that Venn diagram looks like, or what it ever will look like. But if you go over here, this is on CBR.com. I have no idea if they're a good website or not. But they had some cool things here. Like, for instance, these are a few screenshots of the now canceled Kickstarter project, explicitly planning to steal 25 million artistic works from ArtStation, DeviantArt, and, I didn't want to click into it. Gross. And Behance. I don't even know what Behance is. And they have the arrogance to claim their AI allows anyone to make art. Anyone can already do so. The whole steal artwork doesn't make any sense in this case. Anybody who sees your art can also try and reproduce it by themselves, either by hand or through any sort of digital creation tool, whether it's Photoshop, which, if you recall, a lot of people felt the same way about Photoshop when it came to the traditional one, where there was a lot of push against Photoshop and it made things too easy and opened it up to other people. And you could, do different kind of brush strokes and download brush strokes and do all these different things. And every kind of new technology, I think, does this. But the idea that AI steals artwork makes no sense. It'll never use any art piece that it looks at. It literally makes a new image every single time. Unless you actually tell it, don't make a new image and here's an image. You can do that as well if you want. And even then, it won't make the exact image. It'll always be something new. For instance, a lot of the ignorance was around the signing. People who didn't know any better, ignorant, it's fine, thought that the little signature that you see on the bottom right of a lot of AI art was because they were taking different people's arts and mashing them together. Not true at all, actually. Especially stuff like Stable Diffusion, which is based off of, it's literally static, is literally what it's looking at, and then it makes that into an image through essentially an algorithm. And so it's literally like teaching a monkey how to draw an art, or going to kindergarten and looking at what little kids did and seeing them actually try and sign their name and they'll write because they just think you should. You see, what they did is they trained these AI with heuristics or a set of rules that essentially say, look at all this stuff and that's art. And then this is that. That's a yellow bus. That's a green apple, whatever it might be, right? And so it looking at that, it thinks, oh, art has that little squiggly thing in the bottom right. It's not even a name. It's not an amalgamation of other people's pieced together. It's a wholly unique creation, a wholly unique signature of the AI. It's actually kind of interesting, and I personally think fascinating that it does that. But the idea that you are uploading art online for anybody to see, but then you get upset when people see it and use it, like it doesn't make any sense. It's just fearful ignorance is what I feel, and I guess my issue with that is Kickstarter. Because Kickstarter is supposed to be bleeding edge, like creativity and newness and new things. And that very much right now, it's kind of a renaissance of AI. And the fact that Kickstarter isn't fostering a creative group around that, but instead going into the invalid, incorrect idea that a lot of these people have on stuff like explicitly planning to steal art by having a computer look at art pictures. Which isn't stealing anything. It's not using anything. It will never use that image unless you upload that image and tell it to, which a lot of people have been doing that too, right? They'll take their image, they'll upload it, they'll tell it to not try anything new. It'll make something very similar because you told it to, and then it'll be like, look, it's stealing my art. Well, I mean, that's just you actually purposely fear-mongering and manipulating the tool to actually do that. But anyway, I'm not going to get too far into that, except to say that once again, I'm disappointed in Kickstarter for not actually standing up for the truth and instead just trying to accommodate people who don't know better. And I think they could start educating. Really, that's what we need is education around this technology and how it actually works. And also, by the way, FYI, this is a second announcement there. Aeon Trespass, 12 Sins of Herakles, standalone sequel 2023. So I will be covering that, of course, and I will pester them for information and share that as soon as I possibly can. Guys, thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you for obviously being such a cool community. If you have any information on anything you either want me to look into or that you're just curious about, feel free to let us all know in the comments down below. And with that out of the way, guys, be safe out there. It's dangerous. Companies want your money. Guard it with your life. Take care. Bye, guys.